The application process is always very easy. It's unlike that of the US, where it feels like you are trying to fill a form that leads to heaven.
How many UK schools did you apply to?
Actually, I applied to just one.
So what you are implying is that you only got admission with no scholarship?
No, luckily for me, I got job on time. I was doing this care work as usual, and then from care work I switched to teaching work. And the teaching work was it really profited me. There was a time, if you see this face, you look at me and you call me and say, just take this $1, go to this place and get some, just sit and get some pure water and pour in your head. Why? Because I lost it and the brain started malfunctioning. It was that terrible.
How often did you experience that? You were married before you left?
Yes, I was
Nigeria,
married. I was married before I left Nigeria. When my wife came, finally, she saw the situation. Trust me, she cried. Because where I was coming from, I just wrote anything that looks like a literature review and someone accepted it. And trust me, they pushed me to the point that I was frustrated. Getting the visa to UK is not as hard as coming to the USA, not at all. That was when I resolved and said it's time to change
to move out
to the country.
Yeah, you got the US offer and so you left.
That is it.
You mentioned waist pain. Was she massaging you when she came?
Trust me. Like, it was everyone. After I came to the US, trust me, I can't feel the waist pain anymore because there's no job to do here that cause waist pain. So for they can use waist pain.
Alright, before we start, consider subscribing to the channel. This helps me so much. Thank you. You speak several languages. So which one will you say you can speak it more fluently?
Well, I think it's an order of fluency. I think first of all go with I should go with Nigerian Pidgin first. An order of fluency, because I know as linguists we believe both Creoles and Pidgins are languages. So I'll put that one first. And then my English might sound like this. It might look a little bit very English, but it doesn't mean I was baptized in the waters of Nigerian English. So I mean Nigerian Pidgin rather. So it's very intense. So I'll go with Nigerian Pidgin first, followed by French, and then followed by English, even though English is my language spoken in Nigeria. So I'll follow by French and then followed by English. And then I would add my maternal language is Edo. I also speak Edo too because I taught Edo while I was in Nigeria. So I speak Edo and then followed by Spanish and then some little of German. Yeah, though there's another one I know too. I don't understand that, but I'm not too fluent. It's a kind of a dialect in from my mother's side. But yeah, so that's
yeah. I was thinking you mentioned Ido first.
Yeah, so the point is it's in order. I'm mentioning them in order. You see, those first four I mentioned, I can actually speak them very well. Yeah, because I've taught French, for example, in school. I've taught Edo as it is, and I've taught English language. Wow. So I've taught the three. So at the time I was teaching three of them together as kind of also while I was in Nigeria, in Edo State. So I actually learned how to speak them perfectly.
Which one is your favorite?
If I were to go with my favorite, trust me, I think my maternal tongue, which is the Edo, it still resounds because reason is because I think there are some words, there are some connotations, some expressions you can't explain or express in English that you can only express in your mother tongue. It's that deep. Yeah.
Wow. And your kids know how to speak that?
Yeah, these are still little kids. I have a plan, and hopefully for me, because I've taught Edo language before. I have a plan. They have to grow to a certain stage, and then I'll draft out a kind of a material where I'll be teaching them. I'm going to teach them from the scratch. So that's it. But fortunately, they are in the US, and obviously English is going to take over. But I'll do my best.
Yeah. The reason I asked this is because you gave birth to them in the UK, right?
No, the first one I gave birth to the first one in Nigeria. I think he was about 3 years old when, because I was in the UK for about 1 year before I brought my wife and my first kid in. So gave birth to the second kid in the UK.
Okay, that's good. Tell me about your background. Before you left Nigeria, what were you doing?
God. Lots of hustle. Yeah. Okay. So actually, I've always loved teaching. Teaching is it's kind of something that is in the family. It's just in the family. But I've always loved teaching right from time. My mom is a headmistress of a primary school somewhere in Bunibini. So I've always loved teaching. So I ventured into teaching languages generally. So I started
Okay.
with English and Edo, and then before I moved to French language. So I was basically teaching three languages, English, French, and Edo. But then after some time, after I finished university or so, I started a kind of an organization, a teaching organization, which I named myself. And so basically, what I was doing was I just went to different schools and I typed some nice administrative letters. I gave it to them and I told them I could recruit teachers for them. So that was what I did. And within time, I had some schools who were kind of my agents. So what I was doing at that point is I'll get teachers for you on part-time or full-time basis. These schools will pay me. I'll collect my percentage and I'll pay the teachers. So I was teaching at a point in like five
Wow.
or six schools, and I was also paying some teachers because I just identified the areas where some schools lack some teachers, some specific areas like some core science subject and the language subject. That was hard for them to find. So I just took on my suit, put on my tie, and that was it. That was all I needed.
So you were teaching in 5 different schools
I
yourself.
think
Is that what you
six.
meant?
I actually was teaching
6
six.
yourself.
Yeah, myself. Yeah.
How are you doing that? Like, I don't understand.
This is it. Um, I realized over time that one has to be sensible, knowledgeable, and have the right network to make money without stress. If not, one will stress himself out. So what I did
Yeah.
was I have taught in a school as a full-time. I only did that once as a full-time teacher in a school. I taught French, and I was receiving about I think that was about 20,000 naira, naira. And then I looked at it and I sat down and I advised myself that with this one could never go for. So one day came to me as an English. I was like, oh, this is wonderful. I can actually be teaching in more than one school since I'm into the languages. And I can teach English very well, French, and then my own maternal language, Edo, which is there are very few teachers teaching it. So that's how I ventured. So I just went to different schools and I told them I could do it. So that's how I just picked them. Also, what happens is most of all the schools I taught them part-time. I didn't do anyone full-time. Like there were some of these schools I only went there once. There were times where I went to some schools, two schools in a day. There are some of these schools I was just teaching 1 hour, 2 hours, and then I'll move from there to another school. It was a bit
Wow.
stressful, but then I still
Yeah.
had enough time compared to when I was teaching full time in one school. And I made almost 8 times the money I was making when I was teaching in one school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What about the teachers you recruited? Were you
Yeah.
training them before
So
sending them out?
basically, I never actually trained any teachers, but I had this kind of one-on-one interview with them. And most of them were actually people that I knew. They were people that actually knew that already had this experience of teaching within time. Like recruiting an English teacher, I usually go for English people who study English language that I know. For French, it was easier for me. For Edo language, it was easier for me because I knew some few persons who were also teaching Edo language, even if it's very few. So it was easier for me to navigate through this teaching community and then get those people that could do this job. So it was easier for me. So this people already had the experience, the background, but I still had to give them kind of orientation, instructional orientation, so that they will understand the kind of academic journey they are embarking into. So it was good. And at that point, I felt at a point I felt like the boss. So and I was collecting quite
Yeah.
some good percentage, and it was lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. I am thinking a lot of times to be able to teach somebody, you must have gone through, the process yourself. So did you go
Yeah.
to school to study Edo, English language, and then French
Oh,
language?
interesting. So basically, I started with an NCE. There's what to call this Nigerian Certificate in Education. You have to do that for like 3 years. So because I couldn't get admission into university the first time because I passed the cutoff mark, but the educational, the politics, we did the system,
Yeah.
which is very common, and that most of us that actually what we really wanted to study, the system as a way of changing the trajectory of what we want to
Yeah.
study, and I'm 100% that case. So I started with the Nigerian Certificate in Education, which is College Education I cared a lot in. And then I was supposed to read music education. That's my interest. But then, family, and then there was some family meeting, and then over time they just told me they didn't want me there. And then that was someone met somebody, and they just says, take this guy out of here as far as he's not studying music. And I was like, why don't you guys want me to study music? And now I was just 16 years old then. So they were like, oh, someone in the family was like, no. Everyone that studies music, they end up smoking and doing that and stuff. So they don't want that in this one. I was like, okay, where do you want me to go? And the person was like, anywhere as far as it's not music. So my one of my uncles at that time was just there in the department, and unfortunately for me, it was the head of the language department. So he just said, "Oh, let's just take him to English and French." I was like, "Are you serious?" And then they buckled me from music education and just threw me English and French. That was like 1 month before the end of that semester. So I had no choice.
What about the Edo?
For the Edo, I never did any course in Edo. So I just picked it up. I was good at it, and I did it in my JSSC. So I just picked it up myself. And you also find that close to 80-90% of teachers that teach Edo in Edo State, they did not actually study Edo. So most of them actually study linguistics. So it takes someone who really understands it properly to teach it. So I picked it up myself.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I wanted to get a context why you were able to do all of that. So you already had some training at the junior high school level, right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
That makes sense. What about the music? What was it about music that you wanted to study?
Everything about music, trust me. Everything about music. No.
Do you compose songs?
Yeah, I possibly, if I have studied music, perhaps by now, I would have been composing songs. But fortunately or unfortunately, I was not able to continue on that line. I can't compose songs as it is now, but I do understand songs properly. And I'm not trying to exaggerate. I could also sing. Yeah. I could sing.
Yeah.
So
do you think you will pick it up at some point?
I've been in so many choir groups, and I don't have to pick it up. It's just there. It's just there. Yeah, it's there.
But then it's one thing being in a choir, and another thing being able to compose a song on your own and perform on your own, right?
I've composed many songs on my own. Many.
So do you think you would have succeeded if you had pursued that path?
Very good question. So the point is, I decided at a point that the decision that my guardians, rather my parents, made for me was good for me at that point in time, because I look at what would have happened mostly if I decided to chase that particular journey of studying music. Perhaps for me, for example, me being perhaps a kind of very religious person, it wouldn't have ended well for me, because obviously, perhaps for them, I would have gone a bit, let me use the word secular. You get it? And it was, for me, it was, they are not lying. Obviously, perhaps I would have gone the other way around, because trust me, there was no way, and there's no way I would have gone very religious or go to the religious side with that kind of voice, with that kind of talent, because surely I wouldn't be making much money. That's the point. So my life would have taken another trajectory entirely.
Yeah. You'd have been singing Afrobeat.
Oh, trust me. It will not take me. It will not take me 30 minutes to compose a song and sing. It will not take. It's just an inbuilt talent. Yes, it won't take.
Wow. So you were teaching. You had a business as well. When did you decide to travel abroad?
Where I decided out of frustration. So, okay, let me put it like this. So after I did my first degree in French education in a University of Birmingham, Nigeria, and I had a good result. My result wasn't bad. I was the best. I was the best graduate student in the Faculty of Education at that point in time. During my time, I was the best student in Faculty of Education. So, but so I decided to, when I came back from NYSC, I decided to do my master's in French literature in the same department, which is Department of Foreign Languages. So after I finished my dissertation, everything was okay. I needed to defend my thesis, rather. Sorry, I said thesis, rather. I needed to defend my thesis. And on that particular day, in the panel, we had an external supervisor who came. Then I have 4 of my French professors who were sitting there, and I was sitting at the other end of the table. So the questions and the defense and everything was going on. And then the supervisor who came from Kwara State asked a very, very cogent question. He was like, this guy is good. He has a very good result. And of course I did, because my GP was 4.87. It was just the toughest time. He said he had a very good result. Then he made a statement, he said, what stops you guys from hiring this young man? And then 2 of my professors that were sitting at my right-hand side, they made a statement, and they make the same exact statement at the same time. And the statement they made, they said it in French. They said, c'est possible si l'occasion se présente. So it means that it is possible if the occasion shows up, if the opportunity shows up. It was there that it dawned on me that, boy, you are not going anywhere if you decide to chase this, because there's so much politics within this educational system. As when they said that, actually my legs were shaking. It was there I decided, I was like, no. And I told myself 2 things. Number 1, getting a first class is not actually a criteria, or doesn't conclude the fact that one will be rich or will be successful academically. That's 1. And then secondly, I realized that it was time for me to step out of my comfort zone of just thinking, just get a lecturing job in Nigeria and that is when you are done. I said, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. So luckily for me, during that time, I did 2 certificate courses, one in a theology. The other one I was doing was in a missions and church planting. So I had a reverend there who I was just discussing with on one of the occasions. I was just telling him, sir, I was like, one day I would love to travel out of this country because I'm really, really frustrated. He was like, okay, no problem. This is what he's going to do. He's going to discuss with one of his sons, as he said, abroad, who was in the UK. So he discussed with the person. So it was that person that he discussed with. That was the person that actually helped me and prepared my journey to the UK. A very nice person. Never met him before. I've never known him. He prepared all the documents, helped me with the admission in University of Birmingham. He proposed for me to do a master's of research so that I can have enough time to do other things. And not just that, wonderfully well, this same person also, he actually borrowed the money. He used his house that he bought, his house that he just bought. Then in the UK, he used it as for collateral, because he borrowed about over £14,000 just to help me through to the UK. I've never known him. It was a wonderful miracle. Yeah, over £14,000. Yes, and even the flight fare, he used his last money in his American Express account, because I wasn't having any flight fare. So I pushed, but hopefully I think God just helped me, and he just brought someone who I've never known before, and the person helped me to achieve that academic journey to the UK. So when I got to UK, I worked like a lion and an elephant, just to make sure that I pay the money back, because everything was running up to like £18,000 that I needed to pay back. So every month I was paying back about £75 every month for 2 straight years. For 2 straight years. And I was doing my master's of research at the same time. And at the same point, I also had to bring my wife and kid in. So it was quite stressful. So, and that's it. Yeah.
So you said you've never met him, but he's in the UK.
Yeah.
Right?
I've never known the guy. Never.
So when you got to the UK, how come you didn't try to reach out to him?
No, not reach out. No, basically, it was the one that came to pick me up at the airport.
Okay, so you met him in the UK,
we were chatting. So
when you said never, I was thinking
my reverend gave him, for example, the reverend gave me, I had his contact, so we're actually talking. But when I say I've never met him, someone that I've never known.
Okay, before he started helping you.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. That's it.
So you think that he was helping you mainly because of the reverend, right?
Yeah.
Like he trusted you, because that is a lot of money.
Yes, yeah, that's a lot of money.
Someone you don't know, for you to be able to do that for the person.
Yeah, sure. Actually, the point is,
so much.
even this was something that he didn't even do for some of his own siblings. Because trust me, when I got to UK, trust me, the family, they were not happy. That's the truth, because he never told them, because he made such huge sacrifice. Because one of them was of the opinion that, what if this guy does not pay this money back? You are in trouble. But God willing, I was able to pay. So it was kind of a huge sacrifice that he made, and it was because of that my reverend. He trusted the reverend. And because he trusted the reverend, and the reverend said he could trust me, and that was it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some kind of trust.
Yeah, it's on another level. Even the reverend was shocked.
Yeah.
And the reverend was like, I know this person, but I never knew this person could get to this point, because this person could not do it even for his own siblings. You trust me, when I got there, the wife was not happy, because I could see it in everyone's face, because they were not happy. But God helping me, I was able to pay everything off for that 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess your GP also played a role, right? The
Yeah.
fact that you are intelligent, I think that sense to him that when you come, you are definitely going to succeed.
Yeah.
So then,
that was one of the things that he mentioned, and he told me that the French language, so it would be easier for me to get an admission, and my GP too also played. It was nice. I had 6 A's and 1B, so it was very, very nice. So, and luckily for me, the way it is done there, the Masters of Research in University of Birmingham, it is the professor or the lecturer that decides if they will give you an admission after an interview process with you. So what I did, you write your personal statement, your research purpose, and then you have to choose the lecturer yourself, your supervisor, and then you send it to him. Then when I sent it to him, he was quite interested, because he have studied some things about that particular author that I was looking at. So he fixed an interview with me. We did an interview, both in English, and then I was quite surprised, because it was the first time I was having an interview with kind of a white person, for example, and I could notice I could notice the difference between the way they treat their students and the way perhaps students are treated in Africa. It was quite clear, because when he was about to switch to French, he asked me. He used the conditional tense. He said, "Do you mind if we switch to French? Are you okay if we switch to French?" So it was very mild, very wonderful. And so after the interview, he told me, said he was okay, that he's satisfied, that he's going to tell the board to give you admission. The next day, that was it. I got the admission.
So in the interview, do you remember the kind of things you talked about? Did he ask you about your background, how you are going to succeed in the program? What do you expect from you? Was it about that?
Yeah, so basically for that interview, it was more about my research proposal, because for the Masters of Research in UK, when your intended supervisor calls you, they actually want to discuss about aspects about your research proposal. And then what they're also looking at, aside from that, is the other psychological aspect, which has to do with whether they can work with you. That one is very, very important, whether they can work with you. Because obviously one can have a very good research proposal, but the lecturer can just look at the person and feel like, oh, I don't think I can work with this person, because I don't think this person is humble enough. So basically we discussed about our research proposal. We talked about the topic. I was dealing with the works of J.M.G. Leclerc, one wonderful French Mauritius African writer, very nice man. And I never knew he had written about that person before. So that was how I developed interest. So we talked about the research interest, and then we also talked about my career in French, what I've been doing in Nigeria. So I told him I was being a teacher, teaching French, and then some other languages over time, and so on and so. So he also asked about my knowledge about research and so on and so forth. Because before they already sent him I also sent him to my Masters of Arts, my French literature Masters of Arts thesis. I sent it to him. So he looked through, we discussed about that. So that's just what it was majorly all about. So the reason why I switched to French was not necessarily to discuss about the research proposal anymore. It was just to test to see my perhaps my linguistic or grammatical competence or my fluency in French. So he just switched to French. And after about 5 minutes, he noticed that my French was quite fluent. He just the rest is case, and that was all. Because most of them, they are quite skeptical, especially when you are from an Anglophone country. But luckily for me, I was able, I have this DAF, that's what we call Diploma Approfondi de Langue Française. So DAF is the highest level French proficiency exam within the Anglophone region. So I have that DAF.
wow.
So as far as you have DAF, it means you can maintain any level of French conversation all over the world. So that's one's also part of the certificate I have to say diploma. So it really gave me an edge. So I prepared for all these things before time. Yeah.
When did you finish your master's degree?
I finished
In Nigeria?
that was in 2021. Got everything 2021, yeah.
2021.
Yeah.
And you came to the UK in 2022,
2022,
right?
yes.
Did you consider other countries like the US, or just because the person was in the UK, you just considered the UK?
Trust me. Well, basically, there was it was a mix. It was kind of a mixture. See, I really have love for academics and academia. But then at a point in time, I won't lie to you, the also was kind of trying to marry the spirit of the academia together. So at a point, it was like both of them were mixed up in one bowl. So at that point in time, I won't lie to you, what came to my mind first was like the also was like 60% over the academia. But then I had to make sure I do what I love to do. So I know no matter what, I'll be able to skate through. Instead of just, some persons when they go to the UK, for example, they don't mind what they are going to do in their ME or MRes. And it becomes a problem later because you won't be able to handle it. And MRes, as it is harder than ME because MRes is just you're just doing research. And I did about 47,000 words. About 47,000. Wow. And I had to defend my research every month with my supervisor and the co-supervisor. So you imagine how that would be, defending it every single month for about 2 years. So you imagine that. So you don't want to take that risk to do an MRes where you can easily do an MA. So that's that for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Can you tell me about the UK process? I know you got help, but then you were still involved in the process.
Sure.
How is it like? What did you first got a supervisor?
Yeah.
And then what happened? Did you apply to the school after that, or what happened?
So basically, the way that of the UK is done is, no, for the UK they don't pay application fees unlike the US. Yeah. So you have to apply to the school first. Application is free, even though the school fees is like elephantitis. Yeah. So basically, the application is very free because there's no need for you to for you to pay for applications when the school fees is quite gigantic. Yeah. So application is free, and most of the time, the application process is always very easy. It's unlike that of the US, where it feels like you are trying to fill a form that leads to heaven. So basically, thank you. So the application form is very tedious. Right now, so it's quite straightforward and it's very easy, straightforward. You don't have to do much, just little things you have to fill. But when you are done with that, if it's an MRes, if it's a Master's of Research, you will be the one to choose. You look for the supervisor that you love to work with. So you go online, you look for this, the lecturers or the professors in that department, and then you check their areas of interest. And then you see the ones that actually resonates with you. When you see the area that resonates with you, then you will not be the one to send, you add that particular professor or lecturer's name while you are filling the form. You have to add the name. So what happens is once you submit the form, automatically a message goes straight to the person. So the lecturer is informed, and then he will be the one to pick it up and then set an interview for you to see if it can work or if she can work with you. Yes.
Okay. What are the other application materials? Did you submit?
Basically, it's the same. I think it's still the same application. Like I had to submit my, I used my first degree, because it was when I was coming to US, I had to use the other one. But I used my first degree there. I collected my transcript as usual, and then I also added my what to call DEF. DEF is diploma. It's DEF is a kind of another certificate exam in French. So they have two levels. We have DEF B1 and B2. So I did those ones then before I did DAF. So I added them. So there are three diploma certificates in French. So I did those three. So I added those ones, which actually show that I have strong proficiency in French language. And then also added my master's degree. So it was my master's degree and my first degree that needed transcript. So the transcript was there. And I remember too very well, you're going to need your like I said, you have to also submit the research
Document.
purpose, which is very, very important. So schools will ask for personal statement, they separate both. Some schools, I don't know why, because sometimes they tell you it's research purpose, some tell you it's personal statement, and they just confuse you for no reason. And at the end, both when you check the content of what they want, it's almost the
It's
same
always the
thing.
same.
See,
Yeah. It's
so
always
some
the
school
same
call it.
thing.
So you
Yeah.
submit your research purpose. Of course, there's a on the platform you submit it there. Then you also need to upload some other documents like your passport. Of course, it shouldn't have expired. Then you upload for your local government of origin, and then also your birth certificate. Yeah. So these are the major things that are needed. And also, very important, if you are, since you are from an Anglophone country, but you still need to get a letter that shows that you actually studied, you used English as your language of study in the school. So I also had to get that one from my department. I don't know why they do that, because obviously,
Yeah.
if someone studied in an Anglophone country, I see no reason why you should be asking for English proficiency, when obviously
Yeah.
we teach with English in our schools, not Pidgin,
Yeah.
not Creole.
Yeah. That's true.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many UK schools did you apply to?
Actually, I applied to just one. It was
Just
it
one.
was
Okay.
easier because of my course area. So there's no rush, there's no traffic in that area. So where you usually have traffic are those international business, those But me, there was no traffic at all. So everybody
Yeah.
was
That's
just
true.
it was
Yeah.
a very narrow way. A very narrow way. And you have so many
Nice.
lecturers. And more so, you are the one paying the school fees. So they stretch the hands out and say, come on, come on, come on.
Yeah. My next question was going to be about, school fees,
Okay.
scholarships. How did you, so what you are implying is that you only got admission with no scholarship,
No, no
right?
scholarship, yeah.
So what was your cost of attendance?
So okay, for my school fees, I think my school fees was about 18,700 and something pounds.
Oh,
Yeah, 18,700 and something pounds. Yeah, I presume maybe it was 18,000, between 18,700 and something pounds. So what happened was, you see, that money that person who helped me to get to UK. So
yeah.
that money that he borrowed, what he did was he paid from that 14,000 pounds. I was to return 18,000 pounds. For that 14,000 pounds, he paid I think 10,000 pounds just for part of my school fees first. So I was left with 8,000 pounds. So when I got to the UK, and I was very lucky, I quickly got a job. So quickly got a job in the UK, and I was now doing kind of the refunds. And another thing that also helped me too, that also helped my because usually what the UK does is everything is just majorly in the school fees, but the cost attendance and everything is just inside. So yes, but they don't have time show, or like in the USA, they can show you everything. Now in the UK, they don't have that time. Just once you pay your school fees, just know everything's already embedded in that stuff. So, luckily for me, I got a job on time. I was doing this care work as usual, and then from care work, I switched to teaching work. And the teaching work was it really really profited me, and I was able to make much returns on time, because I there are some agencies that do understand, and luckily for me, I was in one of those core areas that the country needed, which was French. And then what I did was I picked up the teaching of Spanish in the UK. So I started learning how to teach Spanish in the UK, not even in Nigeria. So I was able to pick up Spanish in the UK. So I was not teaching both together. So I had I had to kind of extend a contract to be teaching French and Spanish. So what happened is, because some agents I work with noticed that I was able to teach more than one language. What they did was they liaised with the school, they talk with the school, and the school in turn, even though as a student you cannot work more than 20 hours. So the schools in turn, they were not able to help out. What they did was they still give me the normal hours, and then every other part that was left, they put it there as volunteer. So if my hours is complete for 3 days, let's say Monday to Wednesdays, the other 2 days they put it as volunteer. So,
Okay.
but they will still pay
But were they
me
paying
as
you?
volunteer.
Okay.
So that's it.
That's nice. I wanted to find out about the restrictions, as an international student in the UK. So, which means it's 20 hours, just like the
Yeah, it's
US.
20 hours here. 20 hours.
What is the pay rate? Do they pay that much?
For what
Because
specifically?
20 hours.
Okay, you
Like
mean
the hourly
before I
rate.
left the UK, I think they were paying about £11.50. Before I left the UK, it was £11.50 per hour. Yeah.
But that cannot pay anything. That cannot pay for anything,
Oh, it can pay.
right?
Pounds
Because
pounds have power.
be- no, like I mean, if you owe $14,000, right? Let's
Okay,
say
okay, okay,
14,000, or let's be even more specific, $18,000,
okay.
and then you don't have any scholarship, which means you have to take care of the
Yeah.
$18,000. You get a job that pays you, let's say £12,
Okay.
and then you work 20 hours. That will not do anything for you, right? That cannot take care of
Well,
anything.
you are right. That is
Oh,
if you actually work that 20 hours. You get it now. But
okay.
in my case,
Because of the
yeah,
volunteer,
for
okay.
those who are doing care, it will be harder for them. So I quickly switched and I made sure that I pursued my qualified teacher status in the UK. So immediately I got the qualified teacher status, what happened was the amount of money I was receiving per day jumped all the way from about 130, 140 pounds to about 225 pounds. And that's quite interesting because over there while I was teaching, so because the most of the lesson plan is made already, you just put it on the projector and there you are done. Sometimes you have up to like 2 to 3 hours free in that 6 hours you are supposed to teach. So it's like teaching made easy. So all you naturally need in the UK to teach is just that forbearance. You just need the spirit of perseverance, and that is all. And it was actually doing what you love to do and making cool money out of it. So it was easier for me. So if the agency have a very good relationship with the school and they're able to say, okay, these 2 days is to do it as volunteer, but we'll still pay you normal and the normal rate. Trust me, when you calculate that money a week, and even if you remove tax, that is good money for me. But for those that are in other sector, they cannot actually do it that way. But because my subject area is among those core subject area that the country actually needs, it was easier for some of the schools to bend a little. That's
Wow.
why, yes.
It takes a lot of determination and resilience to decide to study Spanish when you had to think about your academics,
Yeah.
you had to think about other things, like because at the time you were still working, right?
Yes.
When you combine everything, it's like it's not easy to be able to get to that point,
Trust
right?
me.
Where you,
Trust me. There was a time if you see this face, you will look at me
yeah,
and you call me and say, just take this $1, go to this place and get so just sit and get some pure water and pour in your head. Trust me, the first
man,
1 year was terrible. Trust me, like I was told before I came to the UK, someone told me, and the person was very sincere with me. He said, these first 2 years will look like hell. I
wow,
say, just tell me the truth. He was like, these first 2 years will look like hell because you are going to be returning and working and working. So I will move from care work. I will put the shirt I'm going to wear to school the next day to go and I'll put it in the bag. Sometimes I have to stack like 3-4 plates of food. You get, so I stack like so. Sometimes I have to eat the food cold. There are times where I slept up in the bus, like I almost lost it. There was a particular occasion where I was so tired on that day because I was just moving from care to school. So I took a bus that was taking me home. I stopped in the middle of the road for no reason, came down, took another bus. I was going back to where I was coming from. So it was when the bus, I was like, seriously, where are we going? They said, we are going back to Birmingham. I said, seriously? So I stopped at Birmingham and then I came down for the bus and took another bus back again to Warsaw. Why? Because I lost it and the brain started malfunctioning. It was that terrible.
wow.
Yes.
How often did you experience that? Because that looks like a mental health issue,
It was
right?
a
How often?
serious mental health issues. And you know the funny part is I can tell you that over 60% of persons in the UK actually pass through that same mental health issues. But then some of them, they think they can hold it. Many have died because of it. Many have slept and died and did not wake up. Many have, so many have passed away because of it. It takes a strong man to be able to do that. So what I did was I saw the trajectory of these things and I said, if I continue like this, I'm going to faint. One day I'll just lose my life. So what I did was I quickly looked at teaching and I carefully switched from care to teaching. That's what I did. But you needed the qualification. That's why I quickly changed my qualified teacher status. So I just switched from care and I switched into teaching. And teaching was able to pay me almost double or triple of what I was getting from care work. That was exactly what I did. So I had more time. This time I can go back home and sleep and refresh and then go to work the next day. But in care, I was doing mostly night shift. Trust me, I was doing night shift.
Wow. You were married before you left?
Yes, I was
Nigeria,
married. I was
right?
married before I left Nigeria.
So all of this going on, your wife was in Nigeria. How was she taking all of this? Was she aware of the things you were going through?
Well, the point is,
Or you didn't tell
I
her?
tried explaining to my wife, but there was no way she could understand.
She never understood.
Until she finally came. The truth is, when she came,
that's how
when
it
she
is.
came, you know, at that point when she came, I was still struggling with the issue of school fees, and my visa was almost getting to that point of getting expired. In fact, literally, I submitted my dissertation 6 minutes after my ID card have expired. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. 6 minutes.
What does that mean?
It means it has expired before I submitted. Like my studentship had expired before I submitted.
So by submitting it 6 minutes before it expired, it means
after it
that
expired, yeah.
But you were still legal in the country.
I was still
right?
legal in the country. So I still had 2 months, about 3-4 months or so, yeah.
Okay, so it means that I just want to be clear. So you had, so it means that you had to submit your thesis and then be declared as done.
Yes.
And then you still had 2 months to be in the country.
I still have some few months. I still have some few months to stay back in the country. But then there's a particular time they'll give to you that they'll tell you this particular time, your thesis submission must not cross this specific time.
Okay.
It must not cross. So they'll give you a specific time where you must finish your thesis, but your visa will take like just few months after then to just give you a report. The last day my stuff was supposed to expire, it was that same last day, that night I submitted it. I submitted it about 7 minutes after. Yeah.
But I think in the...
Yes, continue.
I think in the US, there is a bit more flexibility when it comes to that, because I think if for some reason you're not able to submit your thesis, you still can take 1 credit in the next semester and the next 2 semesters. Like you can take your time and finish your thesis. I think they allow you.
Trust me, I would have finished.
Yeah, I think UK is a bit...
I would have finished my research on time. That's where comes the challenge. The challenge was this. The kind of foundation I had when it comes to research in Nigeria was quite different from the kind of system I came to meet. That's the truth. You know, there's so many times I had to discuss with my 2 supervisors. Like, I told them, I said, I am not dull. I said, the issue I'm having is foundation. Okay? So it's like you left an environment where the people that teach you, the level of academic language and academic expectation, the use and the manipulations and the use and the expectations that are needed from you, that was not the type of expectation that was needed from me when I was in my country. So because of that, it took me 8 months out of the 2 years just to write and to understand what a literature review is. Because where I was coming from, I just wrote anything that looks like a literature review and someone accepted it. But then in this case, they told me that, boy, if you don't understand what a literature review is, you're not going anywhere. So it took me 8 months to understand out of frustration what a literature review is. And it was because of the foundation. And that's why most of the time when most of us Africans travel abroad, and we find ourselves sometimes in a seminar class and you are like looking, oh, what are they even saying? It's like they are talking rubbish. Is it?
It is true.
This has crossed my level.
I can relate to that.
It has crossed my. It's like you see the use of the academic terms. They are used to it. You'll be so lost because that is not what we are used to from our country. It also tells the level of education. Then it was when I finally realized that this is why sometimes they laugh at some of us. This is why sometimes they mock our certificate. They have a reason for doing it sometimes. You won't blame them for that. You get it now? So I've had the course of sitting. So I was trying to explain to 2 of my professors. I said, give me time, give me time, give me time. There were times they asked me if I'm having some mental issues. I said, I'm having emotional issues. It should just leave me. They say, okay, if you're having emotional issues, I say, yes, family issues. They gave me about 3 weeks. Trust me. That 3 weeks, I did not use it to settle anything. I still went back to Ozo. You got it now? Yeah. But the point was this. When everything came as an intuition, when I finally understood what literature review was, it took 8 months. That was the end. I became my thesis, and my thesis became me. That was the end of it. That was the end.
You became emotionally invested in it,
That was
right?
just it.
Because you
I
understood it.
fell in love with it. And I told myself, this is my work,
Wow.
and I can defend it any day, anytime.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping, I'm awake, and I
Nice.
can defend it. So they told me, two of my supervisors told me they are going to push me and push me and push me. And I asked them, why are you pushing me? They said no. They said they want to push me to the point that I will have a good grade that I can contest with anywhere all over the world. I said because of the standard of the school. They said because the University of Birmingham is among the top 80 best schools in the world. So they will not let me go. They will push me to the very end. That's what they said.
So they kept pushing
They kept pushing me. And trust me, they pushed me to the point that I was frustrated. Like to that point. But the point is, I did not regret it. Because when I came to the US, trust me, the first class I sat, one of my classmates who's from Bangladesh, there was a class we did on Erel's radical poetics and mysticism. Man, that guy was somewhere else. The guy was somewhere else. When we came out, it was like, bro, he did not hear a word of what they are saying. I said, don't worry, you will understand. So I was able to relate with them because I schooled in the UK. So I already understand this level of academic thoughts. So these guys are reasoning from a very, very certain level, which most of us were not actually acclaimed to where we are coming from. So it was quite challenging. And to wrap it on what you said, when my wife came finally, she saw the situation. Trust me, she cried.
Wow.
Yeah, she cried. When she saw what I was passing through, yeah, she cried. She cried her life out. Yeah.
Yeah. But your wife, she came 1 year after
exactly 1 year
had
after.
arrived in the US, in the UK.
Yeah.
So she didn't actually see a lot, but even what she saw, was so much for her.
Was so much for her. Because she was there when I was trying to switch.
It's not easy.
When I was trying to switch my visa. So I was trying to look for schools that would sponsor me. And then quickly I realized that there was this kind of sectional, regional politics and racial prejudice, racial discrimination all over. Trust me, I've been to schools where I come there as a qualified teacher, but the kids don't want to believe, or the school don't want to believe that this is the teacher that was sent. Because my name could be very, very funny. It looks foreign. So basically, like I was in a particular school, I was there, I sat in the class. So the kids lined up, all British kids, they lined up outside. And they're more like the prefects, as we say in our country, say prefects. So looked into the class, saw one nice black guy sitting there. Now she didn't believe this is a teacher. No, this cannot be the teacher. What she did was she just stepped forward. She went to call one of the teachers who was also white teachers, like, there's someone in our class. So the lady came. I was like, she just put her head and looked and said, oh. He said, that's a teacher, because she saw the tag on my neck. So I've seen these issues hand to hand. There are cases where I've had to instruct my teaching assistant, who are teachers in the class who are white, to help me get the book and give to a particular student or people. Because first of all, they are finding it hard to believe that this person is qualified enough to teach them. And I say to them anytime with pride, I will tell them, see, I am qualified to do this job.
Going back to the UK system, like research and those things, I think based on what I hear about the UK, I think it's more rigorous than the US, because the US research is more flexible. PhD, you don't have to do 4 years. You can do 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years. They give you the flexibility. But in the UK, it's like they squeeze everything within 4 years. So within 4 years, you have to do so much, right? That's what I think.
Well,
do you agree?
I don't agree with you.
Okay.
Well, I think having been in the system here, I think the USA is more rigorous than the UK.
Okay.
Yes, the USA is more rigorous than the UK. Trust me. I mean, at the PhD level.
Okay.
But when you say at the master's level, the UK and the USA, I can place them on the same scale. The reason why I say the USA is more rigorous when it comes to PhD, because USA naturally will do their PhD for like 5, 6 years and even give you time. Unlike the UK, you have that 3 years to do it. But then they can also give you 1 year extension in the UK to make it 4 years, which happens, which is not a big deal. But then it's still all the same thing. So what I say is, there's this general challenge. There are some schools within the, there's this Association of American Universities. for example, they call them the AAA. So they usually, this set of schools, I think there are about 71 of them, 69 of them are in the US, and the two other universities, they are in Canada. So what happens is most of these universities will most likely employ lecturers and academics who attended universities within their circle. And what I also realized over time is you find so many schools within the USA who, to an extent, would want to, in such a way, disregard any kind of form of PhD that is just based on research only. Yes, they disregard that. So they just believe you have not done enough work for you to actually deserve to get this job. That's why you see some persons, after doing a 3 years PhD in the UK, most of them will still be subjected to do a postdoctoral research. That's the truth. So that's one of the reasons why I opted for the USA, and I saved myself the stress, because I tell some persons they can still employ you even without doing postdoctoral. So for the case of this, I've been in the UK. I can tell you, UK has some of the best schools in the world, and they are very, very strict when it comes to that. They can give you an extension. But why that of US becomes a little bit more tedious is because I think the number of years you have to do PhD is too long. That's just the truth. And even if you have a master's before, they'll still want you to go through the same process all over.
If it's a different school.
Again, if it's a different, that's
if it's a different school,
So trying to go through all over the process again. And we, especially us, we Africans, many of us, we battle with this a lot. But and I tell someone it's mostly advantageous for us, because one way or the other, when you do the master's, it introduces you to the system, because the system could be quite rigorous. Trust me. Because imagine jumping all the way from Ghana or Nigeria, and you just come once and you sit in a panel of academically let me see what crazy philosophical students sitting and discussing, and there you are, your first year PhD, you just be somewhere else. Like you go home and feel like crashing. That you ask yourself, where have I been? Where have I been? Then you'll be looking for somewhere you're asked to forgive your lecturers that taught you at home, because you know they have not done anything. So it's like that.
About your cost of attendance, you said that in the UK they put everything together. So I just want to know, in your case, was accommodation captured in the $18,000?
No. Accommodation is not captured. If you want the accommodation,
which means that it's just tuition, right?
It's just tuition. It's mostly tuition. The truth be told, for most of us Africans, most of us, not all, there are exceptions. Most of us we prefer to stay outside the school, rent a place outside the school. So we bother less about securing what do you call it again, an apartment in school, and so, because it could be very, very expensive. So that one we don't even count it. The truth be told, and our mindset is colonized in such a way that the only thing we look at as cost of attendance is the school fees. We are not looking at the apartments or any. That one we don't care. We don't care, because the school actually in UK, they care less about where you stay. Trust me. Even if you sleep on the street, no one cares. As far as you come to school, you do your work, and you pay that money. You see that money? You don't joke with it. Pay that money. So there is.
Can you tell me about the visa process for the UK? How was it like, given that you didn't have any funding?
Okay, the visa process it was normal. So basically, as usual, you have a portal where you have to apply for the visa, and then you have to do some tests. You do some medical tests. It depends on some schools would not ask for medical tests, but for my school they asked for a medical test. So I did a medical test, and then I had to go to Abuja to go and do on that interview. They also do what you call tuberculosis test. I did a tuberculosis test, which is part of the criteria. You cannot actually touch that one. So I did that was the major one. I think the major that makes someone to travel is that tuberculosis test. Every other thing you apply for the visa online and so on and so forth. They do not give you your CAS. That CAS is your number. That's the one. Your CAS number is the one. That's your student number. That will help you. That's what actually the main number that carries your entire visa process. But they call it CAS for students. That's what they call it. So they give you your CAS. They will approve it. But one thing is for sure, they will not give you that CAS number if you have not paid part of your school fees. So once you've paid part of your school fees, that is part of what acts as the criteria that will make them to release the visa for you.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you don't pay your school fees, they don't release the visa. That is USC for you. So the major reason that will make most people to travel for that UK process, for example, is to do that tuberculosis test. And they have a branch in Lagos. I think they have a branch in Abuja. I think lately they tried open 2 branches, whether in Edo State and Enugu, so that people will not be traveling too much. But that's the major reason why most people travel. That's the major thing. Nothing. It's not as tedious
Stressful
as that of US.
as the US.
That is just the truth.
Okay. So which means that once you get somebody to pay part of your school fees for you in the UK, the visa process is very simple.
Very
right?
simple. Yeah, it is simple. It is easier. Once you get your admission, the visa is more like 96% sure. Once you get your admission.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
So you just get your
Nice.
tuberculosis test. But some persons, they will delay because their tuberculosis test might have issue. They will find kind of stuff, so but it can still be resolved. But that one is just the major reason. Apart from that, trust me, it's easier. Once you get your admission, getting the visa to UK is not as hard as coming to the USA. Not at all. And then there's no such thing as a visa interview like you have for the USA. There's no visa interview. So
is it not like online interview or something?
There's no online interview. The only interview I had was with my professor. That was
advisor. Okay.
And that was it. Done. So that's why you have so many people moving in. Once they get the admission, they just move.
Yeah. So when your visa was approved, did you get in touch with somebody in the school, or just the one helping you out?
Yeah, the person helping me, I was the one that came to pick me up from the airport. Yes. So it was the one I stayed with for some time before I finally got a job. I went to rent my place here. Because he's an agent. He's also an agent too. The person that helped me is also an agent. So yeah, he's an agent. So as an agent, he also had the kind of an NGO where he also help people. So unfortunately for me, I was one of those persons that he decided purposely to help. Yeah.
Your program was a 2-year program, right? So which means you completed it in 2024.
Yes.
Okay. So then you started working in the UK.
Yeah, I was working in the UK while I was doing my program.
So when you finished, you just continued your old job. You didn't do anything
So what
else.
I did was when I finished, my visa expired. So what I had to do was I had to apply. I applied to schools to see if schools would sponsor me, but I didn't get any school. I applied to over 100 schools. I'm telling you, I applied to over, at that time we were tense. I was tense. My wife was tense. My wife would cry because our visa, we just had about like 1 month. But there's a stuff called post-study, PSW, where you can apply for and get an extension of 2 years. So I was trying to see if I can beat the dead end and get a sponsorship visa, which is COS, instead of going for a post-study, which only lasts for 2 years. You get it now. So, but I couldn't get it. But the funny part is, I applied to over 100 schools, and there was just one of the application I did, which was not tied to a school. Out of frustration, I said, let me just apply to anything. I don't care anymore. So that one was the only one that came back. And guess what that was? It was, I was living in Birmingham. This one was somewhere in North Wales. And I'm telling you, these people that pick this stuff, this dirt from the ground, that use this long stick to pick stuff from the ground. Forgot how they call them. So they just picked it and put them in the bag. So they called me and said, that's the job that's available and they can sponsor me for the COS. I was like, are they joking? Are they being serious?
Not Wales. That's a different country,
That's a
right?
different country entirely.
A different country.
Yes. So because it's UK, so all of them, they are together. Because I've been to those areas.
The UK.
I used to go to care close to Wales. So it's not that far from Wales. Yes. Yeah. UK is quite an interesting place. Yes. I used to go to care. Shrewsbury is very close to Wales. So you just see it. Yeah. So basically that was the only one that sent me a message. Calling back like they can sponsor me. It's like, no, I can't do this with 2 masters. I can't be picking debts in the back. And that was when I resolved and said it's time to change to move out of the country. So I just applied for the post-study And my result was not even out before I applied for post-study. It wasn't out. Normally, they'll tell you result should be out, but my result was not out. So I've already applied for my post-study. My result came out in the process before my post-study was approved. Even till now, my post-study have not expired. I still have over 1 year.
But then, you got the US offer, and so you left.
That is it.
Huh. Wow.
And it's expensive. I used to pay about 7,000, close to 7,000 pounds.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Of course, I did. About 7,000 pounds. Yes.
Yeah, interesting. So you, after 1 year, your wife joined you, and then you had a baby in 2024?
Yes. 2024. Wow. Yeah, we had a baby 2024.
2024.
Yeah.
Wow. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah,
and your wife too. I think I saw your post, and it's like you really love your wife so much, right?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask anyone, the person will say yes. Once the person is your wife, it's obvious. Like obviously, you love the person.
Of course.
But then there are levels to some of these things, right? If you look at it very well, some people like they say it openly, and you're one of those people like who say some of these things openly. So it's like, what is special about her?
Oh well, that's a very wonderful question. Basically, I grew up from let me use the word, not a very religious home, but I'm a very religious person, a Christian and that. But then when I was looking forward to who to get married to, I never looked out for that kind of, let me use the word, over spiritual person.
Yeah.
What I was just simply looking for was someone that understands, someone that have a nice and wonderful character. That was it. Because over time, I've realized that as much as most religious persons or Christians per se would hit on the point and tell you, oh, the person have to be God-fearing first. Someone can still be God-fearing and not have a nice character. That's the truth. Because if it were not so, before Christianity even came to Africa, marriages were even longer than these days. It's as simple as that.
That's true.
So I saw the first time I saw her, someone introduced me. The first time I saw her, I just liked her personality. I liked her person, and I noticed the way she carried herself. And I was able to check her family background. I noticed it was very nice. So I did not waste my time before another guy would just come and just take this one away. So I did not waste my time. So one thing is for sure. My wife, there's no marriage without challenges. But I can tell you one thing, that my wife can stand for me any day, anytime. We have never had any issue for 7 years of marriage. 7 years of marriage.
Wow.
We have never had any issue that we could not settle within the 4 walls of the house. 7 years of marriage, and it just looks like yesterday. She's a wonderful person. She knows how to support you to the very last end. She knows how to that she is ready to stake her life for you, and she knows how to love me. So there is no other way. So I don't think there's any other woman in this life that can understand my kind of character more than that smallish lady you saw in that picture. That girl. Yeah. And she's a good cook. Oh, she's a good cook. She's a good cook. Yeah. Many have testified. And I'm still the only one testifying. Presently, I'm still the only one testifying.
Yeah. It makes sense why, despite the struggles you were going through, you wanted her to join you, because she was, before she joined you, she was going to be a good support for you, right? Especially the mental breakdown you had at some point.
Trust me.
Having somebody like you around, it's always going to be helpful.
Not just mental breakdown, waist pain. This care work we do in the UK. You have to bend and bend. We usually bathe people. We do personal care. I've even had the course of cleaning dead person. Yeah. Oh, so wow. It's that. We saw these things. So that trauma is there. So I've seen life from another point, from another angle, where I just say no. People don't understand. So we have seen people bred out of there. We have seen so many of this is care. So we see life from another different angle. So she was there for the emotional support, and then mostly she also supports me academically. My wife studied French education too. Yes. So she's there to support me all while. But you see that issue of mental breakdown, she understood. She understood. She understood very, very well.
Wow.
Trust me, there are so many men that are suffering. And the truth be told, this academic journey is sweeter and easier when you have someone that is supporting you and the person understands your academic trajectory. Unlike when both couple are just 5 and 6.
Elsewhere.
That is it.
You mentioned waist pain. Was she massaging you when she came?
Trust me. Like, it was everyone who has worked in the UK and is working in the UK will understand what I'm talking about. You have permanent waist pain because you have to be bending and turning people and wiping different kind of excreta and everything. You mask up and so on. I worked with people who had PhDs, doctorate degree holders. People who were head of department in Nigeria. I work with people who were 60, 70. So we develop, it's just that you feel the waist pain. So you know that she continued, she had to use, this rub, we call it rub. So she does that almost every single week for one straight year. It was, because before I switched to teaching permanently, I already developed that waist pain because I was working 6-7 days in,
the hustle, man, the hustling.
It was but since I came to the US, or after I switched into teaching, after about 6-7 months, the waist pain just subsided. After I came to the US, trust me, I can't feel the waist pain anymore because there's no job to do here that cause waist pain.
Yeah. I think the fact that you have full funding before coming, like that means you don't have to do all those extra things. You can focus on family.
Full funding can also reduce waist pain. That's how it can reduce waist pain too. So full funding helped in the waist pain. So it's the balm.
this one is a quote from you. Full funding can reduce waist pain.
Trust me, it can. If not, your waist should be ready to work again. It's that simple. Yes. So full funding can reduce waist pain.
That's true. Yeah, you have a good point. Yeah. Before we switch to the US,
one thing that me and my wife will believe on is this. We believe this quote that determination is worse than witchcraft.
Yeah, you've said it that in one of the comment section.
Worse than witchcraft. Just be determined. Pursue your goal and forget about the rest. Everything will come to pass.
Yeah, it can be very tough, but if you keep going, everything will work out eventually.
Sure.
Yeah. So mental health, there are a lot of people going through mental, breakdowns, like people thinking about suicide and stuff like that. Somebody who has been in, like a difficult situation like that before, if you have any advice for somebody going through what you were going through at the time, what will you tell the person?
Well, basically, I'll advise people, take a break. Sometimes it's good to take a break. Save yourself the stress, take a break. It will not kill you to take a break. Get it now? Before I came to the US, I was already doing a PhD in a Christian psychology. And I'm looking at the issue of depression and burnout among ministers and just people that go to church and religious environment and so on and so forth. And I was able to interview about 8 different pastors from different parts of the world, both in the US, Nigeria, UK, and so on and so forth. And I came to realize that if, for example, the congregation understood the kind of depression and burnout and psychological and mental issues that their so-called pastors or their religious leaders are having, some of them would just say, for today we are not having any gathering. Please, sir, can you take a break? Please, ma, can you take a break? That's the way it is. So some persons seriously need to take a break. But because the point is this, I tell people, if you think you want to hustle, it will get to a point, the hustle can take your life. And according to one of my friends, life will continue without you. That's the way it is. Number 1 is take a break. And then number 2 is make sure you go for medical checkup. Save yourself the stress.
Where is the money?
This for the UK. For the UK, when you pay your IHS, you can always go for medical checkup. That's one thing. So it covers your medical.
Is it mandatory for everybody to pay?
Yes, as a student, you must pay it. Okay, so you go for checkup. You should do that one. That's 2. And then number 3, as funny as this is, don't take too much jobs, especially for those in the UK, for example. Don't rush into it. Some persons, they want to do all the hustle. Do 6, 7. I have done all this. I've worked 7 days in, 7 days out. I know how devastating it is. If not that I was a strong man who used to farm back in Benin, Edo State, I wouldn't have survived. There are some persons who came from my state who literally died. Some slept in the buses and did not wake up. Why? Because you see that state of depression and burnout, it was so weird. It just overwhelmed the body, and that is it. And the person passes off. And then the last one I would like to point at, apart from the one I mentioned, is this one. People also tend to think, oh, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. See, do the little you can do. If there's one thing I realized about, let me use the UK as an example, about whites in the UK that work in care homes, for example, or even in schools, most of them don't do, most of them, quite a good number of them, let me not be overgeneralized, do just 2 or 3 days work and they are done. 2 or 3 days. And they are done. And they are done. But you see, we blacks, no. We do
7 days a week.
7 days a week. You even collect shifts from your friends. And they add to it. Some finish one shift and just get into another shift. Many ladies, they've had miscarriages because of that. Some of them are slept off in their cars. Some of them are accidents because of the same issue. Save yourself the stress. Seriously. And for those that are married, for example, it's easier for you. Just know when to switch. Know when to switch. Nobody should be working and killing themselves. So, but like you said, I will say one thing. No matter how hard you advise, even if you say from today to tomorrow, some persons will still not listen to you. So experience will be a very good teacher. And mental health is real. You know, you don't know it's real when you're in Africa. You will not understand. So mental health issues in Africa, we just call it, tell you it's witchcraft. No, it's mental health. It's a serious one. It's depression.
That's
it was when I came to the UK, I understood what mental health issue is. UK is the headquarters. UK is the headquarters of mental health. I don't think it's USA. No. UK is the
No, I think US, maybe it's the condition that you come through, right? If you come under a good condition, then you would think it is better. Maybe I am thinking it's because of the condition.
Well, I won't lie to you. I came under a good condition, kind of a stable condition, because where I'm staying in Buffalo, for example, the houses are very cheap. I'm paying about $1,000, and it's a 3-bedroom flat. It's very, very big, very spacious, and the stipend is quite cool. It's about $1,000 every 2 weeks, which is not bad. Stipend is quite cool, and not just that. I also do some other works which I was doing in the UK before I came here. So I do this journal maintenance for people. I have people to maintain their journals, just help them to publish articles, also do review and for research and so on. So I get paid for that every month. So that is in dollars or in pounds. So when I bring those ones together, it's actually enough for me to take care of wife and then and family. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you are a family man. You're doing a lot of work. But let me ask you this about the UK.
Okay.
If I am coming to the UK, I don't have any funding, like your case, any scholarship. Do you think I should come? Do you think?
No.
Because I am scared of that. Based on everything you've said, I don't know how many people can go through that and survive, right?
Trust me, you don't want to do that, because now even the rules are stricter than the way it used to be. Like me, I would say I was able to skate through. God help me, I was able to skate through. But for some persons, they won't be able to. Some persons are actually dying in silence. The advice is simple. If you think you have the capacity, ability, capability, magnanimity, as we say, and the capacity to work or eat like an elephant, you are free to go. If not,
don't go.
Just make sure you have full funding. Save yourself, because the way it is now, the situation is even far more critical. Because 20 hours, first of all, it's not enough for you to be able to work and pay every other fees. And you know the worst part is they've increased the amount paid for school fees over time. That my school fees that used to be like 18,000, now it's about 24,000. Yes, can you imagine that? It's about 24,000 pounds.
That is just tuition, right? Now you have to take care of living expenses.
Living expenses is there. So you can't just don't take the risk at all. Don't take the risk. Like you see the USA system, for example. Sometimes I feel for people who came here even with partial funding. Like not come with full funding. It is brutal. Not easy. It's brutal.
It's so easy. Yeah.
It's brutal.
Sometimes, you know, if I were them, like everything I know and I've seen, if I were, let's say, in Ghana or Nigeria, and then I'm going through the process, if I don't get full funding or funding that covers my full tuition and then most of my living expenses, I will not come.
I won't take the risk.
But then I've had to become a bit flexible, and so right now my position is okay. If you have at least a full tuition waiver, you can come, because it's so easy.
That is your position. You are a very nice person, trust me. But for me, I'll be very, very nice also to say I wouldn't advise, because at the end of the day, you will not be the one to bend the back.
Yeah.
That person will be the one. So the person will not blame you. And you see, the point is, the truth is that, when I got my full funding at the State University of New York at Buffalo, I had to confirm. I took the funding letter and I put it on ChatGPT, and I told ChatGPT I need to go through this stuff, and I need to tell me if this thing is really full funding, because I need to be sure if this is true, because I don't want to get there and at the end of the day someone comes out and tell me, oh, we are sorry, you have $10,000 to pay. I'll just faint. So I asked, I said, check. And ChatGPT was like, oh yes, it's full funding. I asked again, are you sure? He said, yeah. So I sent a message to the department. The secretary, I said, I got this. I said, is it really full funding? Can you please explain? It wasn't enough. I see how to call I messaged a student in the department and I asked, I said, look at the letter I got. Compare it with yours, please. Is this real full funding? And the person said, yes. I said, okay, very good. I can take it. Yes.
This is how experience warns us about the future, right?
Yeah. It wants, because I've seen people who suffered, even though they were able to strive, but you see the suffering that some people have to go through. Yeah. And the process here could be very tedious, especially when you start with masters for one class to another. You don't have time to rest. It's terrible. It's terrible. Yeah. That's just it. So I would advise. But sometimes I try to think, because I don't know, that's coming from some part of the world, if they give out more partial funding than full funding. That's what I don't understand. I don't really know, because I don't have a data for that.
Yeah. And so sometimes I tell students that everybody's life is different. I have seen people with, partial funding. I can give an example of somebody, Ohio University. He came this fall. He was given partial funding, a full teaching waiver. But then when he came, he got full funding. They changed it to full funding.
Wow.
Yeah, I think some people didn't come, right? So because of that, I think maybe they gave it somebody, the full funding was given somebody, the person didn't come in. So because he came, he got his visa approved and came, he was given the funding.
Wow.
So everybody's life is different. Sometimes you may not have funding, but when you come, maybe first semester you may get funding, or second semester. But what is the guarantee? It's dangerous. Right?
And the funny part is, at the embassy, at the embassy, one also has a slimmer chance, because they are going to look at the funding. And when they notice is, I know of someone who got admission somewhere in South Carolina. It was partial funding, so they rejected at Lagos. They went to Abuja. They also rejected him too, and that was it.
Yeah,
but because it was
waste of money like that, and
you can
funding. Actually tell why he was denied. You can tell that
you could
it has to be the funding.
Even for me, for people that have full funding, they still have to pass through that little trauma that goes to the embassy. Little trauma of going to the embassy, not to talk of someone. With so someone that has this partial funding has a double. I call it double trauma. So someone that has full funding will still go through some sort of trauma. It's like, it's funny how these people, everything about you, they put your life in the hands of one person that is just standing in the counter. Simple. That's simple. Simple.
That one person decides your future. I mean, it's it is what it is.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, about the funding thing too, there is a lady.
Yeah.
She might watch these videos. I won't say the name of the school. So she came this fall, right? And she got a GA, which covered her full teaching and then gives her some stipend. She realized that, so she has some deficits, not really much, maybe 5,000 or so deficit. This lady, she called me one time and she was like, why didn't I tell her? Like, she wants to, like, these are jokes, right? In a way, I mean, there is no way she's going back, but then she'll be joking that, man, this is not good at all. Like, she got the money and then everything finished. And why didn't I tell her all of this? And I made her come. Like, as if I made her come. I didn't make her come, right? But then it was more like a joke. So if you're not in the country, you just wouldn't understand. You
That's
think you
true.
have funding, but even the funding,
That's true.
by the end of the month, you would have spent everything on the school
you will understand better.
and other things. Right?
And I tell people, for those that are single, of course, yours is even okay. But for those of us that are married, trust me, you need to
you are the guy.
double the hustle.
Yeah. How do you take care of the house?
You need to double the hustle. That's easy. Just the way it is. So it's nice. But if she got if she visa was approved, it's enough. 5,000 is not bad because
it's not bad. Her tuition is covered. She has money for living expenses. So her challenge was, she doesn't have to pay school fees, right? But then the stipend that is given to her, she was hoping that money will be enough to do other things like shopping and all of that. She realized that after paying her rent, everything was gone. She was like, man, what kind of life is this?
That's one thing about her. Me, I didn't realize this sometimes. That's one thing about making sure you select a very good school that is in an area that is affordable. Some persons, when they hear New York, they just feel, everywhere is New York and it's very expensive. No, it's not. It's not everywhere in New York. There's some place in New York that is quite cheap. That's the funny part. Buffalo is the second largest city in New York. Buffalo is second, but the standard of living here is not that high. It is quite cheap because
it's actually away from New York.
Very
City,
away.
Right?
It's just from here to Canada. It's just 18 minutes drive. Yeah. I am glad this school gave me this admission. I'm just in the perfect place. The standard of living is not that high. I don't have to stress myself too much. I just take my bicycle. I add my bicycle to the South Campus, chain it there with all sorts of chain and fire and brimstone. And then from there, get into the free bus and go to North Campus. It's as simple as that. So I don't have to pay a dime for transportation.
You bought a bicycle as soon as you arrived?
Yeah, as soon as I arrived, the same week. I just bought one for about $100. Yes, I just bought it.
Was it based on your UK experience? Because people in the UK, they like to ride a bicycle a lot.
In the UK, it was just based on the location of the school. It was closer to me. Like where the school I was attending in UK was quite fast. You can't even use a bicycle for that. But UK has a better bus system compared to the USA. No comparison. I think UK has one of the best bus systems in the world.
That's true.
Don't compare.
Yeah.
But you
US,
see just
you need to have
one bus.
You need to have your own car. Yeah. US, it's better to have your own car because if you are outside campus, the bus system in many places, they don't work like that.
Yeah. But then I would also say the bus system here, the metro is also very, very okay. The metro is not bad. It comes on time. The metro is not bad. So it's very, very okay. The bus system is okay. It's not that bad. So I can also vouch for it. So the bus system is okay. It's not bad. And but compared to the UK, the UK is far better. It's far better. So I just told myself for the now, since I can't buy a car for the now, let me just
you buy it very soon.
Of course I'll buy it. So let me just get a bicycle. It's just like 5 minutes, 6 minutes drive to the South Campus. Once I park it there, I have to chain it properly because there are crazy people in the US. Once you chain it, you jump into the North Campus bus and just 10 minutes drive and you're just there and it's just close to my department. So I'm just working.
I knew this interview was going to be long.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, and the thing is that we're actually halfway through it. That's the thing.
Oh, it's okay.
And
Let's just move on.
We've talked for.
Let's just move on.
Okay.
Let's move on here.
So tell me about the US experience. So obviously you were trying to look for solutions, right? The UK wasn't going to sustain you for long. And so you started looking elsewhere, right? So tell me about the journey. Was it only the US or you considered other European countries? What were you thinking?
Yeah, so when